There is a level of inner silence so absolute that it makes other people uncomfortable. A stillness of mind so profound that it radiates a power words cannot describe. Today you will discover the ancient path to that silence. Have you ever been held hostage by your own mind? A relentless inner monologue that judges, worries, and catastrophizes every second of the day. You lie awake at night, replaying conversations. You stumble through your work, distracted by 1,000 anxieties. You try to relax, but your mind is a storm of noise. While everyone else is drowning in this chaos, there are those who seem to move through life with an unnerving calm. They face crisis without flinching. They handle pressure with an eerie grace. Their presence is a silent testament to a different way of being. And you know what people say about them? She's just naturally calm. He must not have any problems. They cannot comprehend it because they are trapped in a prison whose walls are built of their own thoughts. There is an ancient system, forged in the silent halls of Zen monasteries for over a millennium, that produces precisely this seemingly impossible stillness. It is called Zazen, but it is not just meditation. It is a weapon for the complete obliteration of the chaotic self. But there is a catch. This system requires you to abandon your most cherished possession, your thoughts. It requires you to face the terrifying emptiness that lies beneath the noise. Before I show you how this system works, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment with the one thought you wish you could silence forever. This is your first step in declaring war on the noise. Let's begin. The story I'm about to tell you is about a woman named Sarah. Sarah was a graphic designer, a brilliant and creative mind, but she lived in a state of perpetual mental torment. Her mind was her greatest asset and her cruelest torturer. It never ever stopped. It was a constant stream of self-criticism, worry about deadlines, anxiety about what others thought, and a relentless cascade of what-if scenarios. The pattern was always the same. She would wake up, and before her feet hit the floor, the anxiety would begin. By midday, she would be so mentally exhausted from battling her own thoughts that she'd have no energy left for her actual work. By evening, she would try to numb the noise with television, social media, anything to distract her. But the moment the distraction ended, the silence would be filled with the deafening roar of her own mind. Sleep was not an escape, it was just a brief pause in the war. Sarah tried everything modern wellness had to offer. Mindfulness apps that told her to note her thoughts. Positive affirmations that felt like lies. Journaling that just gave her more space to write down her anxieties. Nothing worked because she was trying to use thought to cure thought. It was like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. She was fighting something she didn't understand, a fundamental mechanism of the untrained human mind, until the day she stumbled upon a truth that had been waiting patiently for 1,000 years. One rainy afternoon, after a panic attack had left her trembling in her own apartment, Sarah found herself in a small, quiet library she'd never noticed before. She wasn't looking for anything in particular, she was just looking for shelter. In a forgotten corner, she found a simple book with a black cover and no title on the spine. She opened it, and the first words she read were from a Zen master named Dogen. To study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. Forget the self? The idea was terrifying. Her self, her thoughts, her identity, her story, was all she had. Yet it was the source of all her pain. The book didn't offer 7 easy steps or a quick fix. It offered only one thing, a practice. Zazen. Seated meditation. It described it not as a relaxation technique, but as the act of returning to the body, to the breath, to the silent, observant foundation that exists before thought is born. There was no promise of happiness, only a path to stillness. For Sarah, who had tried everything to be happy, the idea of simply being still felt more radical and more hopeful than anything she had ever encountered. That evening, she didn't turn on the TV. She pushed her coffee table aside, took a cushion from her sofa, and for the first time in her life, she decided not to fight, not to distract, but to simply sit. The first pillar of Zazen, she learned, had nothing to do with the mind. It was about the body. The instructions were precise, unyielding. Sit on the cushion, cross your legs. Keep your spine erect like a stack of coins. Hands in your lap, thumbs lightly touching. Eyes kept half open, gaze resting on the floor a few feet in front of you. Become a mountain. The first 5 minutes were agony. Her back screamed in protest. Her legs started to cramp. Her mind, used to constant distraction, went into a panic. This is stupid. You're doing it wrong. You can't do this. Get up. It was a chorus of rebellion. The book had warned her of this. The mind will use the body's discomfort as an excuse to escape the silence. The instruction was simple. Acknowledge the pain. Do not react. Return to the posture. Be the mountain. For a week, this was her entire practice. 10 minutes every morning. Just sitting. Just enduring. Not trying to quiet her mind, not trying to find peace, just training her body to be still. It was the most difficult thing she had ever done. But something began to shift. The pain didn't vanish, but her reaction to it did. She learned to sit with it, to allow it to be there without letting it control her. A neuroscientist at Kyoto University who has studied the effects of Zazen discovered that this initial phase of postural discipline literally rewires the brain's relationship with discomfort. The insular cortex, which processes pain signals, becomes less reactive. You are not becoming numb to the pain, you are becoming the master of your response to it. Sarah was learning the first secret. You cannot have a still mind in a restless body. The mountain must be established first. Once her body learned a degree of stillness, she was ready for the second pillar, the practice for the mind itself. The Zen masters called it shikantaza, just sitting. The instruction was both impossibly simple and profoundly difficult. Do not engage with your thoughts. Do not suppress them. Do not analyze them. Simply watch them arise and watch them pass away. See them for what they are, empty clouds passing through the vast sky of your awareness. The first time she truly tried this, she was horrified. The sheer volume and speed of her thoughts were overwhelming. Worries about work, memories of past failures, random snippets of songs, imaginary arguments. It was a torrential river of mental garbage. Her instinct was to jump in and wrestle with every single thought, to correct it, to solve it, to fight it. But the instruction was clear. You are not the clouds, you are the sky. You are not the river, you are the silent witness on the bank. So she tried. A thought about a work deadline would arise. She would label it in her mind, thinking, and let it go. A surge of anxiety would appear. Feeling, she would acknowledge and let it go. She didn't push it away. She simply withdrew her attention from it. She was unhooking herself, thought by thought, from the tyranny of her own mind. Most people live their entire lives believing they are their thoughts. This is the great illusion. Zen teaches that you are the awareness behind the thoughts. When you stop feeding the thoughts with your attention, they starve and dissolve on their own. This is the secret. You don't kill the noise. You let it die of neglect. The third week was when the real war began. Her mind, her ego, realized it was losing its grip. And it fought back with ferocious intensity. It threw its most powerful weapons at her. It dredged up her most painful memories, her deepest insecurities, her most terrifying fears. During one session, her mind created a vivid, minute-long disaster movie of her getting fired, becoming homeless, and dying alone. It was a desperate, violent attempt to force her to engage, to panic, to get up and run. This is the stage where most people quit. They mistake this rebellion of the ego for proof that the practice isn't working. They think, this is making me feel worse. The Zen masters knew this. They call it Makyo, the world of demons. It is the final desperate illusion created by the mind to protect its own existence. The instruction is the same. Do not move. Do not engage. Acknowledge the demons and let them pass. They are just bigger, scarier clouds. Sarah held on by a thread. She would sit, trembling, sweating, as her mind assaulted her with its worst nightmares. But she never broke the posture. She never engaged. She just kept labeling it all as thinking and returning her attention to her breath. She wasn't fighting the demons. She was demonstrating, through her stillness, that they had no power over her. And a warrior who cannot be provoked is a warrior who cannot be defeated. On the 49th day of her practice, something happened. Or rather, something stopped happening. She was sitting, watching the usual storm of thoughts, when she noticed the gaps between them were getting longer. A thought would arise and pass. And in its wake there was nothing. Just a silent, spacious awareness. At first, it was just a second. Then two. Then for a full minute, there was absolute silence. No chatter, no judgment, no fear. Just the sound of her own breathing and the feeling of the air on her skin. It wasn't empty in a negative way. It was a fullness, a presence, a clarity so profound it felt more real than anything she had ever experienced. For the first time in her adult life, Sarah was experiencing her own existence without the filter of thought. She had broken through. This is what the masters called mushin, or no mind. It is not a state of being stupid or blank. It is a state of pure potential, of direct experience, where you are no longer reacting to your thoughts about reality, but responding to reality itself. The prison door had not been broken down, it had simply dissolved. The silence didn't just stay on the cushion. It began to bleed into her daily life. The next day at work, during a stressful meeting where everyone was panicking about a deadline, Sarah just listened. She felt the old surge of anxiety begin to rise, but it was like a small wave in a vast ocean. It had no power. She saw the solution to the problem with a clarity that was astonishing. She spoke and her voice was calm and steady. The room fell silent, listening to her. But here's what no one prepares you for. Her newfound calm was unsettling to others. Her colleagues, used to her anxious energy, didn't know how to react. One of them said to her later, "It's like nothing can touch you. It's a little scary." Her friends, who thrived on gossip and drama, found her presence unnerving. She would listen to their frantic stories without reacting, without getting drawn in, and her silence would make them aware of their own chaos. When your inner peace makes others uncomfortable, you know you are on the right path. Your silence is a mirror, and most people are terrified to see the reflection of their own noisy, chaotic minds. They need you to be anxious with them to validate their own turmoil. Your stillness proves that everything they believe is an inescapable part of life. The constant worry, the endless drama, is actually just a choice. And that is a terrifying truth. Sarah was no longer Sarah the overthinker. She was just Sarah. The system that transformed her is not complex. It is ancient, tested, and devastatingly effective. It has two core pillars. First, the unmovable mountain. You master the body. You learn to sit in perfect posture, to endure physical discomfort without reaction. You build a physical foundation of stillness. You cannot have a quiet mind in a body that will not be still. Second, the passing clouds. You master the mind. You stop fighting your thoughts. You stop engaging with them. You simply sit as the silent witness and let them arise and pass away like clouds in the sky. You starve them of your attention until they dissolve into the silence from which they came. You do this every day without fail. Not to achieve anything but to simply be. The question remains, are you ready for this level of transformation? Because it's not about thinking more positively. It's about transcending thought altogether. This Zen path won't give you a better mind. It will free you from your mind. It will make you the master, not the slave. People will look at you and wonder, how are they so calm? And the answer will be simple. They are not trying to be calm. They are the calm. If this video has opened your eyes to a new way of being, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the wisdom that will continue to transform you. And tell me in the comments, what is the one thing you will do today to begin building your mountain of stillness? Write it down. Make it your vow. Remember, the silence that makes others uncomfortable is the only peace worth having. If you've watched this far, thank you for your attention. You are one of the few who is brave enough to face the silence. Now go to your cushion. The war is over. It's time to come home.